Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my Nightblade bow gank build for the Dark Brotherhood. So this build is really specific and we really only want to do ranged fights. We have to avoid melee fights by all means because we are really squishy. But then again we hit really hard with our bow abilities and we can reposition ourselves pretty quickly. So I just want to show you the character stats, the gear, champion points, skills, and at the end, the most important thing, the rotations and the mechanics behind ganking, because that is actually the most important thing. If you don't understand how the mechanics work, how you can gank people, then not even the best gear will help you. So anyway, so I will buff myself up. Then I get back to my bow bar. So let's see. We use the Shadow Mundus for higher crit damage. Weapon crit is not so important, but it's pretty high, so it's cool. Weapon damage 3.4k. Doesn't look like it's high, but I will explain to you in a second because we use certain sets. Stamina recovery. If I use the Relentless Focus, if it's still up, it's at like 1.562. And if I use a potion, I'm even at 1.7k more or less. Stamina 32.6k, health 22k. Yes, health is a little bit low, but it doesn't matter because we are ranged, so we don't really care. So just to show you when I buff myself completely up on my bow bar, my snipe, it hits for almost 18k. This is the tooltip damage. So yeah, it's not even a crit. Yes, Battle Spirit, it will get cut in half, but still, we can crit for so high damage, it's kind of fucked up. Anyway, so now let's get to the gear. So we are using 5 pieces Marksman and 5 pieces Hawkeye. So let's check the Marksman first. So reduces the stamina cost of abilities by 5%, increases the damage of my bow abilities by 8% against players. Hawkeye reduces cost of bow ability by 5% and increases their damage by 5%. So now we really don't need a lot of stamina recovery because we have really cheap, like the cost reduction is really great. And we get a total of 13% increased damage on the bow abilities. This is crazy. So I'm using 2 pieces Hawkeye rings. And I also have the belt, head and hands of Hawkeye. And the other parts like neck, shoes, pants, shoulder and the chest is Marksman. Marksman, make sure to have it in Divine Traits. Hawkeye only comes in Well Fitted at the moment. Also, they said they will rebalance those sets, so maybe this might change, but I think this set will stay the same more or less. Anyway, I have 3 times weapon damage glyphs here, because we don't, it's the best setup, because we want to get as much weapon damage as possible. And I use a Maelstrom bow, because we get another 190 weapon damage, a sharpened if you have, and a Maelstrom battle axe. So now, if you don't have Maelstrom weapons, it doesn't matter, because the axe is really only here to buff ourselves, okay? We don't have any skills here, so you can use a sword or something else. It's just when I use a light attack here and I could proc the bleeding with the axe, but we really don't want to get into melee fights, so maybe use a sword. If you use a sword, you will get higher healing ticks. That's about it. If you use a sword, that's maybe a small benefit. Anyway, if you don't have the Maelstrom bow, you can use the Pact's bow. Now, you might ask, why would this dude use such a shitty bow? Well, the enchantment is the key. So you see, deals 5k unresistible damage. So what this does is, this goes directly to health. and it crits for 5k on players. This is a unique enchantment, you can't craft this, it's only available on this bow. Again, this might change till next week. If there's a lot that changed in terms of gear, I will let you know, but I think those things will stay the same, so we are good to go. I actually prefer the Pact's bow over the Maelstrom bow because of the enchantment. It crits for 5k, it's insane. And if you have a non-crit, it still hits for like 2 to 2.5k, it's fucked up. So that's it about the gear. Yes, if you want, you can use Morak Tong and do Little Arrow and stuff like that, but that's for another build. Now to the champion points, really quickly. So the most important one is here, 87 in Mighty. So we get like a 23% increased physical damage, plus 80% precise strikes to get a higher critical strike damage, which is really important. So this is the most important setup, we just buffed all the damage we can get. And then here you just want to make sure you have 60-60 or at least 120 points in this tree because of Unchained. Reduce the stamina cost of abilities by 80% for 3 seconds after break free of a stun, knockdown, fear, dizziness, and stagger, so this is really important. Then again, we shouldn't really get into melee fights. 80 points Warlord, 57 points Mooncalf. What you do with the rest is really up to you. Now to the skills. On my bow bar I have Relentless Focus, so this got changed a little bit. It's disease damage now, so you see heavy attacks while active, hitting an enemy with 4 light or heavy attacks change the ability into Assassin's Scourge, allowing you to fire a single shot from a spectral bow, an enemy to deal 14k disease damage. This is unbuffed, so if I buff myself it will deal more, almost 70k. So in case you are in sieges, and make sure to re-flight attacks in between snipes, and then you can shoot that together with a snipe at the same time and he will be dead, believe me. Poison Injection, really strong ability. Basically, if you shoot the snipe and the Poison Injection plus the light attack, most people will die already. If not, the tick will finish them off from the Poison Injection. This can crit for like 10k on low health targets, it's crazy. Then Focused Aim. So this is our main damage ability. It doesn't cost a lot, we basically can spam it in sieges, for example. So it's really cheap. Shadowy Disguise, we don't use Dark Cloak because enemies shouldn't really see us, we should move around really quickly. And I prefer this one because you see your next attack within 3 seconds will always be a critical strike. So if you're using this, then the next 1 or 2 snipes, the next one snipe will be a critical hit for 100%, so it's pretty cool. Camouflaged Hunter, you can slot it but you don't need it to, because you only get, you see, critical hits from Crouch, Grand, Major, Berserker, increasing attack damage by 8% for 8 seconds. It can be nice to get more damage from Poison Injection or the second snipe, but you could use a speed buff here, or I don't know, maybe it's really up to you. Flawless Dawnbreaker, because it increases our weapon damage. We want this one here to get more weapon damage. Then Two-Hander Bar, this is our support bar, a rally. Nice healing tick, plus if you need a burst heal, it also heals for quite a lot at the end. Pretty cool. Piercing Mark, you can use this but don't need to. It debuffs the enemy's armor and spell resistance by 5.3k. So it is pretty strong. That's like a 10% damage increase more or less. But then of course the enemy will know that somebody is here. So you can't really kill him by surprise anymore. Vigor, heal over time. You can slot it, it's nice, I like it, because we really need healing sometimes and the rally is not always enough. Radiant Mage Light, So this skill is really important. First off, it reduces damage by 50% out of sneak, so if somebody tries to gank you, he will deal 50% damage less. And the main reason it is here, when we activate it and then start using using a snipe, means because of a passive it will do 20% more damage, so you need to have level 10 Mage's Guild and Might of the Guild. Casting a Mage's Guild ability grants you Empower, increasing the damage of your next attack by 20%. So you can see I have here 14k damage, buff myself, and I'm at 16.6k. So that's some really sick shit. That's why always gankers activate this before they attack, because it buffs the damage. Here, speed buff, because we want to move around fast. You also can use speed potions. You also can play around with the light white trap. If somebody has seen you, you can try to run around, like around the corner and something, drop this around the corner. Just get ready, charge a heavy attack, and right when he's walking into the trap, because he can't really see them, you can shoot a heavy attack and a poison injection. And it might kill him, who knows. So that's kind of the idea behind those skills. And aggressive horn. So what this does, really cool in siege fights, it gives you 30% increased critical strike damage for 9.5 seconds, so your snipe will almost hit for like 20, well it depends, 16 to 20k if that is active, plus you get 10% more health, magic and stamina, so it's really strong. We don't really need an ulti because we have our bow skills. And it's really nice, this one. You also can slot the barrier here if you want. Also, if you want, you can try to slot purge, but it is really expensive. This one is helpful when you have negative effects on you, you can purge those. But then again, we are ranged, we shouldn't really get attacked by people. We only get attacked if we are sloppy. That's the thing. So that's it about the skills. So you see, it's really only ranged fighting. This build is not for melee fights. I will upload another video with a more melee focused combat style, but we will have completely different skills and gear. Some other important things. Potions are really important. I will put a video in the link where there you can see a video of potions, how many different potions there are, because there's a lot and they can decide if you win or lose a fight. Then buff food. You can use a lot of buff food. At the moment I use this one, health stamina, but you also can use max health and more stamina recovery. You can use max health, max stamina, max magicka. And there is even more, there is like the gold food that gives you max health and stamina, magicka and health recovery. There is so many different possibilities. For me, this food is enough because it gives us the most damage, because it gives us the most stamina. And we don't really engage in melee fights anyway, so yeah, if you think you need to cloak more, then it's maybe better if you also get magicka recovery buff food, kind of, the golden one, or just use the tri-stat one here. So when I use this one I have more magicka, which means I can use cloak more and I can buff my attacks more with radiant mage light, so those kind of things are really important. So now I just want to show you two quick examples of how fights could go. Once Dark Brotherhood update goes live, I will try to record more things, and maybe I will try to combine two different builds into one. We will see how it goes, but this is just how I set up the build now, and again, it is piss easy to gank people. Even in heavy armor, people drop like flies if they don't react fast. It's OP. Anyway, let's I went behind the wall, dropped my shade, went back forward. I thought he would follow me, but he knew, like, he's not a bad player. So he saw the shade and then he was like, he's gonna port there anyway, so he went back there. But then I just shoot poison injection at him and he falls down. And yes, that's like how you should use your environment. Because in a normal fight I can't kill him. Magical tempers are fucking broken OP if you set them up correctly. But of course if they fall down, they can die from fall damage. So he screwed he basically screwed himself. If he had attacked me, I would have just teleported back to the place there and could have sneaked away somewhere. That would have been the other choice, but he died, so yeah. So that's it for now. If you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. I will make sure to test out this build in PvP once Dark Brotherhood goes live. But I'm already pretty sure that like this is a very effective build as long as we're ranged, and it's also really effective in siege fights. You just have to pick the right targets. But again, even heavy armor dudes die if they don't expect you. So it's pretty strong, just don't go melee. Then I didn't talk about the racer where you get the gear from. I will make sure to put that into the description. Also my potion video where I talk about all those important potions, I will put this also in the description of the video. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Cheers.